Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Having Juice with OJ. We're your host, Oliver. Today, we are here with my co-host, Germ, and we're going to be talking about the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals to start off. Baby, let's go. I'm so hyped for this.
Let's do it. I've been waiting so long. Probably since last August, right before the season was getting underway, right before camp started, thinking who were going to be the Final Four teams, who's going to be playing for the chip. And now we got a 2020 rematch. It's the bubble. Put some respect on the bubble.
Put some respect on Bron is what we have to be talking about, though. Because Bron came out there and just absolutely started snapping. AD started snapping. But the real dog, in my opinion, is Jokic. People didn't give Jokic his merits when he didn't win this back-to-back-to-back MVP. I think he's easily been the best player so far.
I can't disagree that Jokic hasn't been night in and night out one of the best players in the world. But when it comes to this specific playoffs and who's been turning it up the most, I have to give my flowers to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has been coming out since game one against the Memphis Grizzlies and has just been tearing it up. Yeah, he's been a little bit of a roller coaster, dropping 40 points, then 10, then 35, then 15. But the defensive effort, the offensive effort, the hustle plays, everything that AD is doing in these playoffs is things that us as fans have been waiting to see from him, or things that we haven't seen since that 2020 run where he was the most dominant player in the playoffs. And that's a big reason as to why the Lakers are going as far as they are. You know, Bron is great. Bron is a legend. But AD stepping up the way he has on both ends of the floor has really been a difference maker.
You see, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. We're talking about right now who's really the best in this series, who's the best player in the series. And I think we can agree that Bron is not dropping his 40 points like Dylan Brooks said anymore. That's not his game plan. He's not 100% still from his injury, I believe, honestly. I think he's taking it easy. He's taking a step back. He's realizing that for them to win, AD's got to win. But let's go through Jokic's points and see the difference between the inconsistencies of AD and him. Last game, 32, 10, and 12. Game before, 29, 13, and 12. The last game, 53, 4, and 11. The 30, 17, 17. 39, 16, 15. 24, 9. I can keep going. I can keep going. All right, let's keep going then. 24, 19, and 5. 28, 17, and 12. 43, 11, and 6. 20, 11, and 12. 27, 9, and 9. 13, 14, and 6. That's his worst game. And that's 10 games ago. I would have to wholeheartedly disagree because Jokic right there has shown that he shows up to play every single game. The thing I have a problem with AD is that it feels like every other game he has to make a new adjustment. And all of a sudden he isn't trying as much, and then he's like, I don't need to put up 20 and 12. Yes, you do, dude. Yes, you do.
When it comes to AD, I like to think of it, I think Jay Williams said it. He's kind of like a luxury car, you know? You're not taking your luxury car out for 100 miles every single day, but when you take that luxury car out, you expect it to do some luxurious things, and that's what happens when Anthony Davis is playing at a top level. With LeBron James, yeah, he may need some ankle surgery after this season, but what do you mean LeBron isn't gonna do LeBron things? Did you see what he did when he got poked as a bear? If you see someone,
he put up 20 and 20. He combined for 40.
If you see somebody fighting against the bear, what do you say? Help the bear? You gotta help the bear, man. LeBron, you can't play with LeBron. In that closeout game against the Warriors, when everybody's saying, oh, the Warriors are gonna win, Curry's better than Bron, Curry's gonna take Bron off of Mount Rushmore. Get out of here with that. Bron came in and dropped nearly a 40-point triple-double in a closeout game against the Warriors, against the defending champions as the number 7 seed. As a team that started out 2 and 10, had a .00 whatever chance to make the playoffs.
Don't get me wrong.
And something else that LeBron has been doing great is he's getting the other role players involved. He's getting Austin Reeves involved. He's getting Lonnie Walker involved. Those are two players that are on previous teams. If you're looking at maybe like a 2018 Cavs or a 2013 Miami, he's not giving the ball to them and saying, go make plays, go get these buckets. And I think that's been another difference maker with this team, because when Anthony Davis isn't getting it going, you can lean on guys like Jared Vanderbilt and Austin Reeves and Lonnie and all of them.
I definitely agree that their bench is very, very good. That they've been underappreciated, like undervalued for a while now, 100%. I also agree. I think that the biggest thing that it's going to come down to for the Nuggets is Jamal Murray's health. Jamal Murray has been like questionable, it feels like, every game. And that's an issue because like I already heard like yesterday that he's going to be questionable for the first game probably already. I mean, if they don't have Jamal out there, I'm really, really worried for them. But I will say that in this series, Jokic is going to put up way better numbers than AD. But I will say that this series will be going to 7 and that the Lakers will be taking it. I can say that only because, like you said, like, yeah, I said something about Bron, like, obviously. But the thing is, like, I'm saying he's not going to be the most valuable player on that team. AD totally is. But the best player in this series is definitely Jokic.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that, but think about it like this. Jokic can be the best player in the series, but who's number 2? Who's number 3? Who's number 4? Who's number 5?
Yes.
And if Jamal
was in, he'd be the 3.
All right, but Jamal's questionable.
Yeah,
he might not even.
Yeah.
He might not even be the third best player in that series. He might not even be the 4th. You're gonna need guys like Michael Porter Jr. to step up, and then on the defensive end of the floor, you're gonna have Vanderbilt and LeBron either guarding between Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. And I'd say maybe you put LeBron on Aaron Gordon just to have that help defense.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's barbecue chicken. And I didn't even mention, like, I might be going crazy. I didn't even mention D'Lo.
Yeah, I totally.
D'Lo's gonna go insane. D'Lo is going to go insane.
If D'Lo puts up, I saw a statistic and it was like if D'Lo puts up like 16 plus points in a game, like they just don't.
They
lose.
win.
They don't lose.
And
that's happening a lot.
And not for nothing, I feel like watching D'Lo this postseason, he's like picking and choosing which spots he wants to go to and really getting there in an efficient manner. Like, I think it was game 3 against the Warriors in the third quarter. He had like 10 points in that quarter, and I was just in awe watching him get to every single spot, hitting fadeaways, hitting that nice midi.
He knows his role right now, which is something that he never knew. I mean, even when he was with the Lakers like a while ago, and he was snitching on teammates and such.
Yeah.
You know, we'll leave that out of it right now. But I mean, yeah, no, 100%. D'Lo is an X factor. I mean, everybody knows my picks. I feel like even if you go back into the archives of everything I've ever said, Lakers, don't sleep on them. We said this when they were ranked 13th, guys, 13th in the Western Conference Finals and weren't even supposed to be playing. And we said on our podcast that if they made the play-in game, watch out for Bron and AD.
They have a really good shot at making the finals, and lo and behold, they take out a team in Memphis that, yeah, we can all agree they honestly weren't ready.
Yeah.
They weren't respected as that 2
Childish.
seed. They weren't really a true 2 seed. But then also I think about it, and a lot of people are throwing that same shade and that same disrespect towards the Nuggets. So I don't want to just completely write them off.
100%.
Because, they still got their guys like KCP and Bruce Brown and Christian Braun who come off the bench and give them solid minutes and solid play. But it's just like, I can't see myself picking against Braun right now. AD's been playing at the highest level he has been since he was in New Orleans and first got to Los Angeles. So it's going to be very hard for me to pick against him, but it's going to be a great series. I definitely see it going 6-7. I see it going 7 if one of the teams gets a late comeback in one of the games. Mm-hmm. But I'm definitely going Lakers all the way.
Yeah, see, the only reason why I have to say Lakers is just because of the fact that in my own experience, I bet against the GOAT of the NFL before, against the new GOATs, which is kind of what I'm seeing right now. Like, you've got the young, nice Nuggets who have never fully been healthy in an entire playoff series ever since those 3 have been around. Michael Porter Jr., Jamal, and Jokic. And then you've got just the guy who can do it, who's been there, who's seen it a million times. So if I bet against him, like, I'm just an idiot.
And he's going, this will be his 11th finals, putting him even higher in history, it makes sense to go with the Lakers. You know, if they come out and they execute their game plan. You know, Jokic is gonna go off. That's like other teams preparing to play against LeBron or
We
preparing
need the
against
coach
KD.
we need Ham to have some type of say.
Yeah,
in
Mike
this.
Malone and Darvin Ham, you know, that's going to be another battle to really look out for, because I feel like Mike Malone has done such a good
Coaching
job
adjustments, baby.
at making his adjustments mid-game or game to game, and with Darvin Ham, you know, a lot of the times it's been questionable. But
I feel like
over the
it's every
season,
other game he makes a better adjustment.
but over the course of the season, that's something that he's been doing very well, is making those adjustments and realizing, hey, you know, I didn't play Lonnie Walker all these games, and I'll take the L. I'll look stupid for that.
Yeah.
But when I put him in, look at that. Drops
Yeah.
15 in the fourth, and they win.
That's a Reading bull right there. That's a Reading
Reading
bull.
represent. Yes, sir.
Moving on from there, so I would have to say that we agree 6 or 7 games easily. Lakers take that. We're gonna stick with that. We have to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, where the Celtics just did their job. I mean, Tatum just did his job on the Sixers, but we'll leave that for right after the Eastern Conference play talk. We've got the Heat and Celtics right now. I mean, in my head, 5-6 games. 5-6 games for the Celtics. I mean, I don't think the Heat are gritty, so I think they take 1 or 2 games. 2 probably. But the Celtics right now are just feeling themselves. I think this is the best that Jaylen Brown has ever played this year. I mean, he's sometimes like the main core. Like sometimes he's the main core. Marcus Smart is the heart of our team. He's the more offensive driven Draymond Green. I've said that for years and years to come. He knows how to put out the passion. The only issue is, can Jason Tatum lead? Can he hold back his emotions mid-game and not make stupid turnovers?
I feel like there's a couple things to dissect with that. First, I'll start with Celtics versus Heat. Again, 2020 rematch. And this is the 3rd time in the past 4 years that they're playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know me. You know Jimmy Butler is like my second favorite player. You know that I ride for Jimmy. You know, I see this going 6 or 7. I can see it going 6 or 7. This is a Heat team that was 3 minutes away from losing to the Bulls in their second playing game. They had already lost to the Hawks. They come back, they beat the Bucks in 5. They beat the Knicks in 6. Tyler Hero goes down. I'm not too sure if I don't think he'll be back at any point. But, you know, you got guys like Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin.
Gabe Vincent has been very, very
Gabe
good for them.
Vincent has been
very good.
amazing for them. And Max Strus, who we're talking about, a guy who you can consistently rely on to get that shot off. Duncan Robinson, when Spo has finally
Duncan Robinson's
Spo went
contract's finally being used.
Spo, exactly. So the majority of this season, when talking about the Heat, was centered around why did Duncan Robinson get all this money, and you're seeing why he got all that money now.
Because Tyler Hero went out,
And now they need to rely on somebody who's been there and knows their system and knows that offense, and Duncan
and he's gritty.
seemingly fits into that. Other than that, you know, gonna need some big time performances from Bam. You know, Bam has been up and down, but I feel like towards the end of that Bucks series and for the majority of the next series, he's been turning it up. He's been doing what he needs to do. He's getting his 10 plus boards. He's dropping his 15 plus points. He's getting to his little midi. The midi sometimes when he's taking those pull up elbow jump shots,
Al Horford's gonna be on that.
Hey man, I'm not worried about Al Horford. I'm really not worried about.
You worried
Al
about
Horford.
Rob Williams?
I'm not worried about
Really?
Rob Williams either. Not
Against
at all.
Bam?
Not at all.
Bam averages 10-7 this series. Bet it.
10-7 is insane.
10-7.
10-7 is
10-7.
insane. If he comes out first game, drops 10-7, I see that. Next game is going to be completely different. And we haven't even talked about the best player in the series. Jimmy.
Jimmy's the best player in the
Jimmy
series.
is the best player in the series.
There's no way you can.
Jimmy is
He's
the best.
third best player in the series.
Jimmy is the best player in the series.
How are you gonna argue that?
How are you gonna argue against that? Have you
Jason
not
Tatum
seen what
just
this man?
dropped 51 on one of the title favorites. I mean, Jason Tatum.
not-
he had a couple bad
not-
games, of course.
Boy, them Sixers is not no title favorites.
I would even say Jaylen Brown is a better player than Jimmy right now.
Come on, you think Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum could have lead the Heat to beat the Bucks?
I mean,
Do you think that would have happened?
Know.
No, man.
We wouldn't
They
know.
wasn't gonna do that. Not one of them. You take Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown and you switch them with
Bucks
Jimmy
were
Butler.
flustered this year. The Bucks
Does not
were
matter.
flustered
They were
this
not gonna beat that. You think they would have? You think one of those two would have had that 50+ point game that they had against the Bucks?
Would you say, if you're talking about the best players in the NBA, Jimmy's over Jason Tatum?
I'm not saying in the NBA.
So we're talking about be a better
We're talking
player
about the postseason. We're talking about the postseason where time and time again we have seen Jimmy Butler go from top 20 to top 3. Time and time again, he led that Heat team to the finals in 2020, where he beat Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and how old were they?
22, 23. But at that point,
I was kidding. That's a joke. That's the joke.
He's only 19. Nah, I remember that. But at that point, they had been to the finals and the Eastern Conference Finals before that too.
Jaylen Brown's been to the Eastern Conference Finals 5 out of the 6 seasons he's been in the NBA.
That's good.
That's good. And he's like 24,
and they've
25.
Lost. And when they lost that Game 7 to only LeBron, that's a big thing. So seeing the Celtics can win Game 7s. We've seen that.
Yes, they can.
They're very good at winning Game 7s.
Fair share of them.
They're very good at winning Game 7s. My thing is, we have seen someone who has taken their game and elevated it to a level where nobody thought it could be at. With Jimmy Butler.
We definitely didn't think it.
Didn't
he have like no D1 offers? He wasn't ranked. Like, he was like a 3-star.
Nothing. He wasn't coming out of high school or college crazy, getting 100%. Drafted 30th. You know, he made himself. He worked into that role that he has now.
Day in and day out, I'll agree with that. But still, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown over.
But on a base level, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, what they do and what we know they can do is expected. What Jimmy Butler does and what we know he can do, and then what he exceeds and does, we don't really expect that.
We've expected it since the bubble.
But now we do.
We've expected it since
why?
He
because
was with the Sixers at
we
least.
expect that now because Jimmy Butler, time and time again, will come out and consistently compete.
Same with the Jays. Same with the Jays.
I wanted to say same with the Jays always, because if Jason Tatum, doesn't get it going and gets emotionally flustered, then he's not gonna have a great game. And he'll come back.
He didn't have a great game in Game 6 and he still won.
And I'll say he'll come back and have a great fourth quarter, but then that also goes against, the teams that they're playing and those defensive adjustments that those teams lack to make.
So you're saying the Sixers had their coach couldn't do it?
The Sixers lost that series. The Celtics didn't win it. The Sixers lost it.
What the Celtics didn't lose a game. They let themselves lose games. Like the whole entire playoffs, we would go up like 20 points and then we wouldn't continue to keep like the foot on the gas constantly, time and time again. We were down 10 to 15 points and our stars had nothing for like 3 games in a row. They were doing absolutely nothing. We continued to lose games. The Celtics continued to lose games for themselves. There's no way you can convince me that the Sixers lost themselves the series. Their star players put up a combined 24 points in the last final game, which is a win or go home game. You're saying that?
So you're saying they didn't lose that? They lost that, bro.
Did you see their energy?
They didn't even pull up to play. They lost the series. They lost all motivation
in the first half of the Game 7. 100% they pulled up to play. 100%. It was a very close game. It was neck to neck.
Yeah, they did.
And then the second half, it was that boy Doc Rivers who couldn't make any adjustments on somebody who's had 25 points at half.
Tatum had 30 going into the half.
25 points. That's what I'm saying.
And then with what, like 9 minutes left in the third, here was already at 36, 37, and then Doc makes no defensive adjustments.
Were made 100%. But also, JoJo didn't put his foot on the gas for them to win. He's got to drop buckets for them to win 100%.
And he's not grabbing it. He's not taking the rock in the low post for the last 4 minutes of the one game. Mm-hmm. You're already dropped. The attitude of you not being aggressive and you not going after it, that shows so much. That shows me that you don't care. You lost motivation. They had it.
After that MVP trophy, they lost motivation.
They literally had it. They were in Game 6.
They had all the momentum.
In Game 6, at home.
In Philly, at home.
Up 3-2. And Jason Tatum is dropping nothing the first 3 quarters, and you guys are telling me you're going to not try to put both feet on the gas? They lost that series.
I don't think they understood the magnitude of going to TD Game 7. I don't think they understood because they said, oh, we won Game 1 there. We won Game 5 there. What's a third game? Well, the third game is Game 7, one of the most important games in all of sports. And you guys have not proven that you can win game 7s yet. I mean, you haven't really been there too much. Last time was maybe against like Kawhi, like when he put them down.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the end of the day, like you haven't proven that. So you cannot just say, hey, it's okay. We can lollygag through game 6, even with their best player doing terrible, and go into game 7 and be fine. No,
But that's
you need to win
that's
at
why.
home.
But do you understand? Like that's why I'm saying like the Sixers more lost it than the Celtics won it, because I feel like the Sixers were in a position to really end the series. They were in the driver's seat. They
They could have, but our heart made us win.
And that's
The
great. That's a
Celtics'
great
heart was
thing.
it.
You know, the Celtics came and they fought back. They didn't give up. You know, Tatum was terrible for 40 out of the 48 minutes in game 6, and then comes back and drops almost 70 points in 5 quarters. That's amazing. But on the other hand, you got a former MVP, this season's MVP, a championship caliber coach, and they collapse.
They collapse. I mean, and this episode comes out a little bit later, but we just found out about Doc Rivers getting fired about an hour and a half before we pulled up here. And let's clap it up for them for doing that. Jeez, that needed to happen. That needed to happen. He's done absolutely nothing for this franchise. I mean, even if you look at Doc Rivers' like past performances in game 7s as coach, like he's trash.
His game 7 record is, I don't have it off the top of my head.
Yeah,
It's abysmal.
I can tell you it's actually terrible.
I was watching Get Up this morning, and they brought up a tweet, and it brought up all these series where Doc Rivers was up, I believe like 3-1 or whatever, only for them to lose. And there was at least 10 series on that list. So, hey, Doc Rivers is a great coach, a great person. You know, I there's no doubt in my mind he'll find another job with another team.
Get one.
But, you know, this is a franchise, this is a city that's pushing for success. And all their other sports, they just made the World Series. They just made the Super Bowl. Their MLS team was going crazy. The Union was going insane.
Was going crazy.
But, you know, I feel like when it got time to talk about the Sixers and get that hype around the Sixers, we all wanted to believe it. But it's just not there. It's not there. And, you know, with Doc, that's one thing. You got to look at this roster. You got to gut this roster. Tobias Harris is set to make the most amount of money on this roster.
Sadly, you can't even do nothing about him. You still got to pay that man.
You do, but I feel like you can move him for, you know, 1 or 2 impactful rotational guys.
Max, he's going to have to get a max. He's going to have to get his max. He's going to have to get $100 million. It's either you're giving him you're going to have to give him $100 million or you lose him for nothing.
I don't think he walks. I think as a restricted free agent, they could let the market test his value. You know, same thing that the Suns did with Ayton. You know, because in my opinion, Maxey is a great young player, but
he's not worth $100 million.
Do I think he's getting that $100 million off rip?
But also think about it. In the NBA right now, $100 million is just getting handed out to everyone.
That's true.
I mean, it's getting handed out to role players like it's nothing. I mean, he's a good 3 or 4, 100% on a contending team. He's a good 3 or 4. He can never be a 1 or 2. And he's very, very young. I think it's pretty stupid if you give him such a big contract, but at the end of the day, that's what everyone's making.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard.
And then your bench is gonna have to stay with like Niang and all these other like role players, like
and all that.
That's gonna be your bench for the next couple of years. Like, is the process over? The process has been over, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, the process started in 2012.
I think it was a theory.
It's been over 10 years.
Yeah.
And they don't have now one conference finals appearance to show for it.
James Harden's about to get a max at Houston. Guaranteed. I can guarantee that because no contender is giving him a max, and I guarantee he's at his age where he's not going to cut money anymore.
But I think if I'm James Harden, I'm accepting that option. You know, I think I'll come back when we're here and run it back with Joel, run it back with Maxey, see what
it would be nice to do.
See what the organization does to restructure the roster, because
depends on who they pick as coach, I think.
And hey, with all these championship caliber coaches, I think 3 out of the 4 coaches that won a title in the last 4 years don't have a team right now.
In my opinion, they need to get Monty Williams. I thought
we were talking Bood. Budenholzer. Budenholzer
I
for
would
the
like
Sixers,
Nick Nurse over him.
but Nick Nurse is in Houston now. He's doing
100%.
Isn't he doing front office
No,
stuff?
I mean, Woj tweeted out, Sixers are in search for a new coach. It's including Mike Bood. Let's go, baby. Then you got Sam Castle, Mike D'Antoni. Might as well slide him in here too.
Man.
Really screw up the franchise. Nick Nurse, Frank Vogel, and then Monty Williams.
Frank Vogel.
Yeah.
Nah, I could have sworn I thought Nurse took like a front office position in Houston, but hey, if he didn't, that is honestly my pick for them to go out and get, because Nick Nurse is an amazing coach, and what he did with that Toronto squad in 2019.
That was really fun.
You talking about taking a guy who's a top 5, top 10 player and really elevating him and helping that team get to where they need to be. Nurse is a great guy to do that. Budenholzer is a great guy to do that. With Monty, I think Monty is a great coach. With all the stuff in Phoenix and all that drama, I don't know if that's the type of coach and energy that I want to bring into Philly, especially now with everything that just happened. However, who knows? They could end up with Frank Vogel. So
Yeah, they could.
So we have to see what happens with that. I think that's gonna determine a lot of the moves that they make in the offseason. And I think that determines if James comes back or not, if they move Toby, if they're looking to really extend Maxey and give him that money. But everybody else on that roster, expendable.
Get him out. All right, guys. Well, we're going to be right back. We're having Juice with OJ. After this, we're going to talk a little Ja Morant. We might talk a little Suns, a little Knicks. Are they back? Are they not? We'll see you later.
All right, so I just want to start off with thank you all for coming to this. It means a lot. My launch party, my merch, me and Jeremy have been working really hard on this podcast.
What's going on, everybody? It's Jeremy, aka Jeremy, co-host of Having Juice with OJ. We're here at City Distillery having our launch party for our merchandise. Basically our show, getting it out there, meeting with a bunch of friends and family and supporters, and just getting here for OJ and supporting his cause. So thank you everybody for coming out, and we really appreciate it. It's been a heck of a journey, and let's keep growing. Oh yeah.
It all started, of course, 2 years old, starting to play baseball with my dad, who coached me until I was 18. And just growing up, all I did was look at YouTube all the time. All I did was watch baseball games, football games, soccer games, boxing, UFC, everything. And I just always loved it, and I had the biggest passion for it, and I didn't know what to do with it. And then I got gifted this opportunity at this podcast with Usula Media, and I brought on my co-host Jerm after he came on my second episode, and he killed it. And this place that we're at right now, City Distilling, all came to fruition because of my mom. She's been nothing but amazing. She calls herself my momager because she's done absolutely everything for me. Whenever I'm stressed, she makes me unstressed. So I can never thank her enough. Love you, Mom.
All right, for the first time I met Oliver, I knew he was a huge sports fan, huge sports guy, and to see him talk about this from a couple years ago about how he wanted to have a sports podcast and to actually making it happening and having this huge event here today, so proud of him. He's an awesome kid, and he's going to take over this podcasting industry, so I'm pumped for you, OJ.
All right, OJ, I'm so proud to see where you're at right now. Been living with you for the past 2-3 years, man. So happy to see how far you've come. We're all so proud of you, man.
OJ, you've done so much for me. I hope everything is going well. You're fucking killing this shit, and keep it up, man. Thanks for everything.
A lot more to come, man.
Yep.
OJ, you're a close friend, even better brother. Met him through Temple and Sigma Alpha Mu. Love what he's doing here. Podcast fire. It's going up. It's going up, baby. Cheers.
So Oliver, first time I think we were together. First time we met Oliver.
4 years ago.
4 years ago, started college. This dude was just super welcoming, super friendly guy. As I got to know him, still the same way. Like he can talk to anybody. Super friendly, super outgoing. Always supportive of everything we're doing.
Took us under his wing. Brought us in like family. Still cares about everyone till this day.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
big
man.
brother, about to do great things.
Glad to see you here, man. Keep going up.
We're here for the long run, and you guys are gonna be here for me, and that means so much to me. So I cannot do this without all your guys' supports and all your views and all your reposts, and it means the world to me. So thank you for that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are going to start off talking about the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors. What should they be doing right now with this team?
Man, it's like, at this point, it feels weird calling it kind of bittersweet, because if I would have heard myself say this like 6 years ago, I probably would have fought myself.
Yeah,
but
literally.
It's kind of bittersweet to see, the dynasty is coming to an end. The dynasty did come to an end. That's what I'm saying. Hey,
Wow.
when you're 22-0 against teams in the West since 2015, and your first loss comes against the King, of course, the Warriors have a lot of answers that they need to find this offseason. Starting off, Draymond, he has a player option, $27.5 million. Klay Thompson, he's gonna be looking for a contract extension. Does he want max money? Me personally, I can see him taking a pay cut just to keep the team together, because that's the type of guy that he is. But those are big questions out of two of the three top guys on that team. And you turn around and you look in 2021 and 2022 in their drafts. Who were they able to pick up? Number 2, number 7, number 14 picks. Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody. Wiseman is unfortunately not even a part of that team. Kuminga,
I had
Moody,
a lot of high hopes for Wiseman.
Me too, and it honestly was scary to think about. Wow, this Warriors team that was just in the finals was in the lottery
Having a dominant center.
because Steph broke his hand, and now they have Wiseman. They didn't turn out well. Kuminga, Moody, they have their moments.
Kuminga got like no minutes though.
That's the thing. So it's like, what do you do? Do you want to keep competing with this older team that, we've seen them win championships, but clearly this is not the same team as last year when they were in the finals. Jordan Poole, his struggles this postseason, he just got a bag.
There's no good-looking girls on the floor sheets. That's why they need to fill them up with the Cavender twins. Come on now, If you get some good-looking bonds on the front court, he's dropping 25.
Hey, Kim K was at one of those Laker games,
Kim
man.
K
He wasn't
Maybe
bugging like that.
Maybe he didn't see it.
He's blind then. But Jordan Poole ain't have a great postseason. So it's just like, those are a lot of the questions that need to be answered. Steph, obviously he's gonna be back. He's gonna be a year older. Can this team continue competing like that? Does Bob Myers and Joe Lacob and the Warriors front office, do they want Draymond, Curry, and Klay to retire as Warriors to finish their careers there? Because they've given so much to that organization, and it's just like, could the Warriors set the precedent even for other organizations, like maybe even Portland with Dame, to just have those players that have done everything for that city and that organization and brought championships there, retire there?
See, I don't know if I can agree with you on this one right now, only because before the Warriors were out, Draymond was the best defender in the playoffs. 100%. Best defender in the playoffs. Can he run that back? 100% yeah. Give him that option. Again, Klay Thompson, we know who he is. We know he started to get to his final form again. He was starting to look like the old Klay.
Not in Game 6.
I mean, there might not be any more Game 6 Klays. There might not be any more of those, but I can guarantee that they'll get it done. I mean, and we also can never discredit Steph. I mean, that man runs a 5K in the half court before he shoots the ball. He's running circles all around people. He's not giving up anytime soon. And I think we need to really think about those young players. Yes, Wiseman might be just cut from this part of it, but I mean, we look at Kuminga and Moody. I think Kuminga gets a lot more playing time next year in the playoffs when they're there, because they're gonna be there. I mean, in the regular season, I liked them, but also the one thing I had an issue about, which is why I knew the Lakers were gonna win, is that I'm almost positive they had 11 road wins in the regular season. That's it. They weren't able to win at another stadium, which that I think is the real issue. And I think that also comes down to coaching too. Because honestly, yes, Steve Kerr, great coach.
Hall of Fame coach.
Hall of Fame coach. He's also had Hall of Fame players. And when they have not been at their best, he hasn't been able to shine as a coach with these coaching adjustments and coaching abilities and timeouts that he needs to take on the road to get the other team to stop having so much momentum.
But I feel like another part to that is, you know, Kerr's had Curry, Draymond, and Clay for 8, 9, 10 years already. Maybe he's not so like maybe he's reluctant to turn to the younger guys and Wiggs
I
and
feel
say
like that
you,
could
like
be
you
it.
need to lead now. Like
Yeah.
I feel like he knows that that's worked and he knows that it can still work. It just worked last year and they won a title.
Maybe it's that old man mentality where you can't.
He wants to
switch.
continue relying on
Yeah.
those guys, but you know, eventually the rest of the league is catching up. We just saw Sacramento erase their 17-year playoff drought. Dallas
They were looking dog-like.
Dallas unfortunately missed the playoffs, and you know Luka is coming back hungry.
Hard.
We have even other teams that didn't make it out the West, that didn't make it into the playoffs. You know, teams that were in the play-in and stuff like that. You know, it might be hard for the Warriors to even get back up there, especially if they continue those road woes and not winning games on the road. That's gonna hurt them a lot next year. And again, adding another year of age to those top three is it creates a lot of questions for concern for that team. And hopefully, you know, they can just get it done, because that's a fun team to watch and they're great players to watch.
I don't want it to end.
I don't want, because I feel like once it
end.
does, like once we stop seeing the Warriors in the playoffs, that's gonna be the start of the drift away, and we're not gonna see them
like
anymore.
that with LeBron too. It's them and LeBron. I mean, once they're out of it, it's gonna be scary.
Yeah. So
Going on to the next team, I mean, we just saw one of the most crazy things happen with the Suns, with them getting KD, and then you have D-Book, and then CP3 unfortunately got injured, and like that definitely is not gonna help their team. But I don't know what to think about the Suns anymore. I mean, I wasn't even confident in them, and that's crazy because I've always been confident in KD.
well, I mean, me personally, going before the series against the Nuggets, you know, a lot of people were picking the Suns to beat the Nuggets. I really wasn't one of those people. I definitely wasn't one of those people. But just watching the Suns this postseason, yeah, KD and D-Book can combine and give you 85. But who else is doing anything? You collect campaign, you're gonna let him take 30 shots.
I mean, they got rid of their two best subs. They got rid of their two best subs.
Mikal, they really missed Mikal and Cam. They really did.
Those two are gonna give you a lot of good buckets when your mains aren't.
Did Dario even play in any of the series? Was he even getting
I didn't
minutes?
see him at least.
I don't-
I watched all the games. I feel like I didn't see him.
Yeah, like Dario Saric, Jock, I'm not gonna. Jock Landale has been a bright spot for them actually. You know, undrafted center who outplayed your number one pick in game 3. Yeah, Jock Landale has been a pretty solid spot. You know, I'm more than positive they bring him back. Yeah. Torrey Craig, Campaign, those aren't guys that are gonna get it done. And with Ayton, he can have his own episode on how bad
He is
he's been.
so trash.
How
I do not
soft.
care. He was
Soft.
getting big body bullied.
He's Charmin. He's Charmin at this point. He really is. He's
Literally.
ultra soft.
He's my toilet paper in my bathroom. In my
But-
half bathroom.
But big thing, you know, a lot of, from what I've like read or watched, a lot of Ayton's struggles and his softness has come from him butting heads with Monty. And now we see that
That's
Monty's
soft mentality.
But at the same time, you know, you got to have a coach that's willing to coach you up and have you play your best. And I feel like with Monty and Ayton, that just wasn't a good mix. So when I saw that the Suns fired Monty, especially after what,
You think he's gonna have a better year?
after last year when Ayton wanted to go to the Pacers, because Monty didn't want Ayton. Monty wanted Miles Turner. So when
I
all
would
that
have to
stuff
agree
happened,
with that now.
I mean,
I would take that.
I would too. I would have taken that 2 years ago.
Yeah, honestly,
But
same.
I think, you know, this year without Monty and Ayton, we got to see what he can do. Before me as a fan, I'm not even a fan of the Suns, but as a fan, you know, I want to see him succeed. I want to see him play well and do well for himself. Because in that 2021 finals run, his first playoff appearance, he was looking like a top 3 center in the league.
He was.
He was looking amazing. So it's just,
was.
and you're expecting to grow on that every year.
We've seen just depreciation.
So from them to go from the finals to getting blown out in elimination games at home by Europeans in back-to-back
Literally.
years, the Suns are honestly in a very, very bad spot. I'd honestly say they're in the same spot as the Sixers.
I would have to agree with that.
I think both of those teams are in the same spot where they have the talent, the top end talent to go out and win a championship, but it's just not coming together. So would KD request another trade?
I mean, honestly, I'll give you 98% sure of that. I'm 98% sure that could happen. 2% that he drops 45 average next year. Next team, I mean, this is a team that I feel like unless you're from New York, you didn't expect them to be here, but also New York fans probably expected them to be here for 15 years in a row. But they look good. I mean, my only issue is I think they need to get rid of Julius Randle at his top. I don't think Julius Randle is that guy at all. Like, there's not even an ounce of me that can say that he will take you to the finals. I think you throw him away and get some good pieces for him, because this is the top potential Julius Randle that there's ever going to be.
Julius Randle is so horrible, so terrible. Just watching him on the court is honestly a punishment. It's a punishment to people that are supporters of the Knicks. It's a punishment to people who enjoy basketball. It's a punishment to people who work their asses off to get somewhere and don't get that opportunity. Because every time...
I hate when he has the ball in his hand in the fourth quarter.
Every time he's on the floor, his body language and his effort, the lack of effort, Julius Randle is a cancer to that locker room, is a cancer to the team. He should not be on that team. It is not his team. That's Jalen Brunson's team.
100%.
When you got a 6-foot guard who's playing with more heart than someone who's almost 7 foot tall, you know, that ain't your team, man. So he needs to realize
Jalen
that
Brunson
really quick.
just came in and said, you know what? Let me control this real quick. I was like a 6-man on the Mavs, but hey, I can come here and I'll give you 30 points. And I could even give you 10 rebounds at 6 foot.
And between, you know, Brunson and Quentin Grimes, who was an amazing bright spot for the Knicks this offseason, this postseason, quickly, unfortunately, got hurt. You got Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, who was playing amazing. Josh Hart, who they got at the deadline, who was playing amazing.
Yeah, he was dogging it. He might have been the best pickup out of any team.
Nah. I'm still sticking Jared Vanderbilt for the Lakers, man. That has been the most underrated best pickup all year.
Yeah, his defensive capabilities are insane.
1 through 5, and he's going to be out there the majority of the night. But with the Knicks too, you know, Hartenstein was playing great. Josh Hart is honestly the embodiment of New York basketball. Like, that's, I feel like the Knicks really love having him on that team. So, you know, RJ, from game 2-ish of that Cavs series to when they got eliminated, he was playing, you know, some of the best basketball that he's played. You know, he still has those inconsistencies. He still has those defensive lacks as well. And, you know, with RJ, I really want to see him be more effective without having the ball in his hands. But that's a team that...
I feel like he just sometimes looks like a big goofball, like on the court. I don't know. I just look at him and I'm like, this dude plays basketball sometimes. I'm like, there's no way. Some of the shots I see him take and the unwillingness to like dribble the ball, like it just feels
like when he just gets it and just does a pull up from the wing.
I just don't like that. Like, it's just like, why are you? Yeah, it's weird to me.
So with that, I feel like, you know, that's just more being in the league, being around a guy like Jalen Brunson a lot more, who can really open his eyes to what's on the floor. New York basketball is back, man. New York basketball is back. This is the best.
They're here to stay?
This is the best season that the Knicks have had since the Melo era.
Melo, yeah.
And with the Nets, man, that honestly was a varsity. It wasn't. It didn't really feel real with KD, Kyrie, and Harden, and we all know how that ended. That wasn't really New York basketball. So seeing the Knicks like that, seeing them compete, and with Tibbs doing his job, you know, I think he's doing a great job in New York. Yeah. New York is looking like a place where people may want to go and play. So I'm excited for the Knicks.
For a while, that was not looking true. I mean, nobody wanted to come. It feels like every single year, the Knicks were like, oh, we're going to get this player. We're going to get the... Well, slipped right out of their hands. I
Every
think
time.
like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Every time.
I was hearing it from Knicks
The
fans.
one year they're gonna get Zion and KD, and then the next year they're gonna get Kyrie, and the next year they're gonna get Giannis, and they were supposed to get Donovan Mitchell, and they didn't get Donovan Mitchell.
And they didn't close it. They didn't
But
close
the
it.
Knicks had a successful season by every stretch of the imagination. They won however many games they did. They were the 4 seed. They beat the Cavs, who we both were picking to smoke the Knicks.
Yeah, I know. We were.
And they went to
That was sad.
and they went to 6
sad.
with Miami. So New York, man,
I like them. I
York.
mean, we'll see next year.
they're here to stay.
And then next up is what we've all been waiting to talk about, because we're going to pull up the clip again of us talking about it, our short that we have talking about him. Ja Morant, man. Ja, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Like, it makes absolutely no sense why you're just pulling out guns all the time. I mean, yeah, I get it's your friend's live and stuff. Even your friend was trying to protect you. Even your friend was trying to put away the camera. Like, you didn't even need to pull out the gun. It wasn't like he told you, hey, grab that gun and put it in. No, he just went like, like, what is wrong with you, bro? I really have no clue what you're trying to do here. I mean, you lost out on $40 million. Congrats. Your kid doesn't get $40 million.
That literally, that on the way here, how I was saying that 40 million could have went to your daughter. She could have been set for the 40 million. Me and you could be set for life. Our families would be good. And he's over here waving that shit away. Like, why are you doing that? That makes absolutely no sense. You're a professional. You work in the NBA, not for the NRA. Put it away. What's wrong with you? Seriously, what is going
I'm
on
laughing
through your
because it
head?
gets me so mad that he does this to himself.
He has issues, and then he'll go out early in the. Man, I'm good in the West. No, you not, you clown. I don't have no alcohol problems. Yes, you do, you clown. You have issues. And clearly the first time they suspended you and made you go get help, it didn't resonate. It didn't work. Do you need to be suspended indefinitely? Not play this season? Be out of the league for you to realize how stupid you're being?
We literally said that.
You're not NBA YoungBoy. You're not a part of that gang. They don't mess with you.
Yeah.
And anybody that's seeing this, I have no idea. How do you support a clown like this?
He went to a private school. He didn't grow up in a hood. He didn't have all these major problems that actually a lot of NBA players did really truly go through. This is clowning them and their lifestyle that they had before they made all this money and why they're here making it for their family. I'm getting chills thinking about it, because there's actual dogs in the NBA who had to work their tail off to get there, and he wants to sit there and just make a mockery out of it. That's what he's doing, because he's known as one of the most highly intelligent, highly spoken of player in the league. He has a good head on his shoulders. That's what he was known for.
He comes from a good family with both of his parents.
Exactly, who never had any, he never had real true hardship. Of course he could have. Mental health is real. But, dude, come on, you're doing this for more than just you. This is for your family. And your family should mean everything when it comes to you making this money and what you were meant to do, why they put you through such good schooling. That all matters.
And not just that, but his teammates, his organization, who are all leaning on him. He's supposed to be the leader of that team. And by him being a clown, a complete idiotic clown, combined with Steven Adams and Brandon Clark being hurt, they lose that series. And they look like clowns the entire time.
I think that is the embodiment of Ja Morant.
At this point,
that word.
He's a clown.
He's the clown emoji.
He seriously is. And his play style too, don't get me started. Him basically trying to break his body every time he goes to the basket. That's also stupid.
Derrick Rose is looking at him like, dude, if I just had them knees, dog. If I just had them knees. Because that's what Derrick Rose was doing. He was trying to jump out the room and dunk and do all these crazy things, and it ended his career. So Derrick Rose playing basketball, ending his career, and now Ja's pulling out guns to end his career. That's sad.
It's insane. Think about it like that too, yeah. Derrick Rose would probably do anything to have that health in his knees, to have been able to have that athleticism keep on going for him. And then also I think about a guy like KG, who really went through a lot of things in his life.
Yeah.
If John Morant were ever to step on the court with KG, I don't think John Morant is walking off of that court.
No,
especially
never again.
after all these antics that he tries to pull off, he's not walking.
Well,
It's frustrating.
That's
frustrating.
A frustrating thing to end with. But we're gonna have to get to a lighter note here to end it. Juice with OJ has official merch. I don't know if you've seen it the entire time. We've got the hat, we've got the hoodie. I've got some socks for y'all. We've got the QR code right here. I believe it works through the screen. If not, my Instagram is @havingjuice_with OJ. If you DM me and ask me for it, I can ship it out to you. I can deliver it to you if you're in the tri-state area. But please come support. It's been amazing. I mean, these things are so comfy.
The quality is
Everyone has said it. The
amazing.
quality's amazing. Stitched embroidery everywhere. And thank you guys so much for tuning in, and hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next week.